Good evening, everybody. This is Cinnamon Noir.
And this is the Ramen Channel.
So we took a little break between parts 1 and 2 of the Kero Blaster Let's Play. We're going to do the same thing just before the end here, with the second of 2 demo games that Daisuke and Maya made for Kero Blaster. The first one is Pink Hour, where our little office lady friend had to retrieve a document. This is Pink Heaven, which is more focused on this character's personal life. Kind of.
Kind of.
You know, it's sort of the two balanced halves of a person's life. On the one hand, you know, your job, and on the other hand, your personal life.
I kind of like her.
Me too. She's a surprisingly engaging character, considering how simple she is, both in terms of writing and design.
Well, I think Kirby proved years ago that you can have a character who's, like, functionally a pink blob with facial features and vague semi-morphous limbs and still have it be very likable.
Of course, she's more articulate than Kirby.
True.
So, it turns out she kind of has a crush on the blue shopkeeper guy, who we've seen before in Kero Blaster. In real life, he runs the shop that's in the subway, which she takes to work every morning. So, you know, she stops by to buy gum or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is sort of kidified. In real life, it would probably be cigarettes. A lot of people in Japan still smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Especially office workers, because they have stressful lives. In fact, one of the things I love about these side games is that they sort of highlight one of the most interesting aspects of Kero Blaster, which is that it is in some ways a discussion of Japanese office life. I'm serious. Like, it totally has that underpinning. I'm not even, like, reading this into it. This is a fairly definite subtext.
That's actually,
That will become more obvious in the bonus mode, Zangyo, which we'll be talking about later.
something I've noticed in my admittedly very limited experience with continental Europe is a lot more tobacco use.
That's absolutely true. The young people, you know, these days. Who can understand them?
Kind of depressing, really.
A little bit. But, you know, they always twit us for being fat, so it's like, you know, we're all killing ourselves in our own way.
Okay, that's one way to look at it.
It is, yeah. I'm sorry, I just watched a Zero Punctuation review, so naturally I'm thinking a little bit about people being critical of America.
Especially when it's Far Cry 5.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well.
Way to date this, Greg. Now when you actually put this up, people are going to know it was 8 months before.
Yeah.
Anywho, Pink Heaven, just like Pink Hour, is a fairly simple game. The point is to get you accustomed to these controls so you can decide if you would like Kero Blaster, and if you want to buy it. This game actually gives you, like, a straight-ahead option to buy it. Like, within the game, you can press a button that will take you to the Steam store. I don't use it, because by the time I was recording this, I'd already bought Kero Blaster.
That, you know, that kind of thing is obnoxious with paid games,
Right.
and honestly kind of a piss or even free-to-play games. But in a demo, it's kind of par for the course. And
It's appropriately subtle, I would say. It's not offensive.
that's essentially what this is. It's a demo.
So this guy asks us what we think we need, strength or gentleness, which is an interesting question. Anyway, the first time I went through this, I asked for strength, and the result is you get a powered-up gun. I thought with gentleness you would get an extra heart, which would be beneficial, because with only 2, this is a pretty... You know, it's pretty easy to die. But no, you actually get something more interesting. It's a little umbrella that allows you to glide. And I'm going to show off how it works in just a second here. So yeah, there are actually 2 stages in this demo. So it's quite a lot more than the, you know, quite a lot longer than Pink Hour. So it turns out I cannot get this guy right here. So this is how the umbrella works. It's a little bit awkward, actually, both in terms of execution and the way it looks. It looks like she doesn't quite know how to hold it. Maybe because her limbs are so odd. Anyway, the umbrella is definitely the way to go, I would say, for the most part, because you can get an extra life, and you skip this entire room.
Oh, yeah.
Which can be helpful. But I'm going to go through it anyway, because, you know, why not show it off? However, I would advise you, if you were playing this for yourself, if you go with the umbrella option, just go straight past this room. There's nothing terribly exciting about it. There's a couple of those enemies, which are kind of like the ones that we saw at White Laboratories. Only these guys go straight up and down, instead of moving around the room. I think they might appear in the overtime mode on Kero Blaster, but I'm not sure. They might be unique to this game. Oh, actually, this is one reason not to skip this room, because there is another one up here.
Oh, yeah.
Surprising number of 1-ups, actually, considering that this is a fairly simple game. I don't think you're likely to die that much. In general, I would say both this and Pink Hour are more difficult than the first couple of levels in Kero Blaster, but substantially easier even than the last few levels of the main game, let alone the hard mode.
I was gonna ask, how would you compare the difficulty in this to Pink Hour?
This is harder than Pink Hour, no question about it. Pink Hour is a simpler game. Well, actually, now that I think about it, you bring up an interesting point. This may not actually be harder than Pink Hour, because Pink Hour has some tough jumps. What this is it's longer than Pink Hour. So more challenges, but generally somewhat easier. So depending on how you conceive of difficulty, you know, for instance, if there's more chances you have to lose a life, when you start back at the beginning of a room when you don't, then how long the room is relevant to how difficult the game is, right?
Yeah.
So this game with its longer rooms could be considered more difficult in that sense. But I would say the challenges that you encounter at any given moment are somewhat easier. I mean, you can see for yourself, obviously. There's not so many pits in this one, certainly. But there is a boss, just like in the first game. A very simple one. It's slightly more complicated than the first game. So, yeah, this UFO does not speak English. That's also not hiragana, as far as I can tell, or any kind of kana. It looks a little bit like the symbol for May, but I know what May looks like, and that's not it.
Interesting.
Maybe it's na. I could be off. It's been a while since I took Japanese. The reason I'm a little confused is because there is a character later on in Kero Blaster who does just say May over and over and over again.
Like in the Japanese...
No, in the English version.
Ah.
It's a little awkward. We'll get to that. There's a reason that this character is speaking Japanese. It's related to glitches. Anyway, so you notice our beam has been, like, turning flowers, like, making them bloom this whole time. When we destroy the UFO, it also gets covered in flowers.
Fair enough. Makes me think of a bit of Okami.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It's like we have an Amaterasu beam. It's like the Heather beam from Silent Hill 3. It's bonus you get. Anyway, having defeated the UFO and rescued the shopkeeper that we have a crush on, we have lit up the sky again, and now things are just dandy. We're in the pink, literally. So yeah, she buys plum gum from his little subway station.
Oh.
Japanese like plums a lot. And I was talking with my sister the other day. Plum wine is what Japanese people drink when they want something sweet, since sake obviously is not a sweet drink.
I've heard it tastes like lighter
when it's cold. When it's hot, it doesn't really taste like anything, and that's kind of the point.
Ah.
People don't drink sake for the taste, I would say. There's
Probably
a reason it's
not.
served hot. Anyway, so we end with this romantic little scene.
I mean,
this only happens when you have the umbrella. Otherwise, they just fall down. But if you have the umbrella, they share it.
Sorry, I was talking over you. I was going to say they're hardly the only ones.
That's true. Rocky, Ouzo. There's lots of disgusting alcoholic drinks. Retsina. So yeah, that was just a dream, unfortunately. Pleasant dream.
Actually, speaking of alcohol, I was going to say I've been finding I actually enjoy, beer is still kind of bitter to me, but I kind of enjoy it more than wine.
Interesting. Well, isn't that kind of typical? At least in the United States?
I guess. But I've definitely known people who were the opposite. Like, who liked wine but didn't
Greg,
like
this is
beer.
important. He had our umbrella. That means it wasn't a dream. It was real. It was all real. That sound effect is really weird. I thought that was a phone call. But no, apparently that's a train thing. They send out a signal when the train is about to leave. Instead of just saying, your train is about to leave, which is what they do in, like, England. So anyway, that was Pink Heaven. You know, fairly simple story, but I like how it balances Oh, by the way, you might have noticed her boss is at the far left corner of the screen back there. Anyway, I like how it balances Pink Hour with two sides of this office lady's life.
So what's in the rest of the video? Is this all credits?
Oh, no. Remember how Pink Hour had a hard mode?
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to be doing hard mode on this game, too. And, boy, is that going to be interesting. You might have guessed from the fact that more than half the video is over, and yet we're doing hard mode that we don't finish hard mode. Anyway, this is a little view of CNF Co., the office building. We're going to see this at the end of Kero Blaster, but we haven't seen it yet, so it's a little sneak peek.
With a floral UFO, I see.
Mm-hmm, yeah, apparently it got back up again. So, this guy refers to brother. I think in the original Japanese it would be like Ni-chan, but they're referring to you, the player, I'm pretty sure. They're like, I hope you've been having fun with Kero Blaster. And then the shopkeeper tells her a little secret. And I don't know what that's supposed to be. He can't,
Fourth wall!
He can't find her ear to tell her the secret. Because they're both blob people. So, now we have unlocked hard mode. You may have been misled by the fact that I was able to complete the hard mode on Pink Hour. Whatever the difficulty of the original games in this case, the hard mode of Pink Heaven is definitely the hardest thing in either of these two demos.
Interesting.
It starts off simple. We just have, you know, that new type of enemy who, when you kill him, shoots out electric bolts, which you have to jump over, but, you know, nothing too terrible about that. Those are spikes. Gotta make sure I avoid that, so that's gonna be some tricky jumping.
That jump looks kind of tricky.
And here we have the first sign that this is going to be really tough. So there were a couple pixel-perfect jumps in the hard mode of Pink Hour, but now we're having to do about 6 of them in a row here with enemies. Big difference. Oh, and we have to hop between these two while shooting these enemies. It's very easy to make a mistake and, you know, fall to your doom. You're far more likely to fall in this than get killed by enemies, even with your measly 2 hearts. Because there's lots of chances to fall. And the enemies aren't that hard.
They're kind of predictable.
Oh, yeah. So there's a little hidden one up there. Mm-hmm. A little hard to get back to that place, actually. You're also likely to fall from there. But there's a lot of chances to hit something on the way down, so that's not too bad. In addition to harder platforming, this sub-mode also has something that Pink Hour did not have, which is there's a mini-boss in the hard mode.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really starts getting more complicated, like almost to the level of being like a level in the real game. So here he is. Yeah, this is a little rough, especially for demo. So this character constantly shoots out the little electric bolts and will wiggle all over the place trying to hit you.
Oh, wow.
And of course, you only get one hit. So yeah, that wasn't too good. I definitely need to play better than that if I'm going to win this. A little tense right now. I think I managed to get him on this run.
The variable jump distance makes him really tough.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Hooray. This victory definitely gave me a false sense of confidence.
Oh boy.
I just plowed on through. But you can see, we only have like 3 minutes left in this video. Oh, the story in hard mode is... Oh, there isn't a story. He tricked us. We don't even get a power-up like in the original game. We just have to keep going. So unlike regular mode, now these characters move diagonally instead of up and down or left and right. A little more complicated. You'll also notice there's a lot fewer 1-ups here. Which is a shame, because you need them more in hard mode, but it's hard mode, so why would they give you a break? And this is Pixel, the guy who made Cave Story. Why would he give you a break, of all people?
Oh god.
Have you ever, like, seen the Have you ever seen the secret bosses on Cave Story?
I'm not sure I have.
They're friggin' insane. They're worse than anything in Kero Blaster, I'm pretty sure. I haven't fought them myself, but that's only because I find Cave Story a little tough to get through. I don't know, also something about Cave Story's plot just never appealed to me as much as this. There's a little bit of, like, homestuck to it. Like with characters that you're expected to really like, even when they seem kind of, you know, annoying. This male scientist character, I forget his name. Oh god, that was an embarrassing death. I never liked him from Cave Story. The guy who contacts you at the beginning of the story. Anyway. So yeah, this is a complicated series of jumps. You need to make sure that you are getting as close to the apex of the thing you're jumping from and as close to the nadir of the thing you're jumping to. But the two don't match up completely, so you have to make a guess at a certain point. So I'm making some more sensible decisions here, taking that guy out before I head up the elevator. Ultimately, unfortunately, to no avail. I actually never get past this room.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to try more than once, you know. I wouldn't want to try your patience. But yeah, so that wasn't intended to be a pun. Anyway, here
Which is good, because it wasn't.
Here the jumps are a little harder, because you have a ceiling to bump your head into. And I screw up.
At least you didn't die.
Yeah, you say that, but, you know, maybe that would have disillusioned me a little earlier, and I could have stopped trying. That gave me a false sense of security.
Getting kind of a Super Meat Boy vibe at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. The one big difference is that Super Meat Boy would have been able to jump off the side of these platforms.
True.
Whereas you can see, this character doesn't even impact the side of the platforms. If you hit the side of the platform, you will pass through it.
Bummer, man.
I think they had that in hard mode of Pink Hour as well.
Oh, God.
Also, this isn't Bummerman, it's Kero Blaster. I'm a big fan of Bummerman. I played Bummerman Jetters on the GameCube, which was a fun game, although it was a little weird. Actually, now that I think about it, I haven't played any of the classic Bomberman games. The ones where you just wander through a bunch of squares. Like, every level is just an arcade-style board. Those always never interested me that much. Anyway, I'm trying to do the distance. I don't think I ever managed to get on top of that thing. It's just sad. Anyway, this is the end of Pink Heaven. I hope you've enjoyed the playthrough that I actually managed to get through. And pretty soon we will be finishing up Kero Blaster. Hope you guys tune in then. Good night.
Good night, everybody.